We're located in Lakewood, New York. We employ 1,150 employees. Because we demand such high quality from our suppliers, we have a team that actually frequently visits them, so they travel on a regular basis to suppliers. The Erie Airport is probably the most utilized airport by our employees. Then the next airport is the Buffalo Airport, with Jamestown being the third in line. Erie has 298 flights. Buffalo, it's averaging 76 flights, while Jamestown was at 47, a total of 421 flights. About $300,000 in commercial flights. We have vendors in our facility every day, probably 15, 20, maybe more.
We have two main facilities in the Jamestown area where we employ about 650 people. We are a global company. We have people traveling daily, from going to visit our sister plants, visit our parent company, visit customers, visit vendors. In 2006, we spent approximately $1 million in transportation costs. Our major customers have people coming to visit us for one reason or another on a routine basis, daily, weekly. And we do have some vendors that come for various meetings. I don't know how much they spend, but I'm sure it's got to be comparable to what we're spending. I would say here the last 3 years, more and more we fly out of Erie and Buffalo, simply because the service out of Jamestown has declined and it just does not meet our business needs. We would certainly support a Jamestown airport that has better service, more reliable service. We also need to be able to go somewhere where we can connect internationally. If Cleveland has more international flights, let's say to Europe, to Germany, or to England, that would certainly be very beneficial.
We have probably an average of 5 people leaving every week from either Buffalo or from the Erie Airport. Last year we had 77 days where we had people coming in from our parent company. That equated to about 130 different trips, or picking somebody up in Buffalo or facilitating their travel arrangements. Our customers are either distributors or original equipment manufacturers, and they're coming into our facility on a weekly basis also. And we do all of our training at our Jamestown facility. So if you're buying our products, you're going to be trained in Jamestown. We don't keep records on those, but I would say it would probably be equal to at least the level that we're using currently. So we need to be able to have a very adequate airline service. We would definitely welcome, from both the people coming into Jamestown and the people leaving from Jamestown, a better level or even an equal level of service as we had previously. Because the service has been depleted, it has forced us to move to either Buffalo or Erie for our flights. To be honest with you, the hubs that we would like to use would be away from the Philadelphia, the LaGuardias and so forth, which have their natural problems. A hub such as Cleveland, which is a little bit less traveled and still would give us the availability, would be welcome. What we can do in Cleveland is we would be able to pick up Continental to go for our overseas flights, and then we would have the advantage of the other airlines plus Southwest to go out to the West Coast.
We have an excess of 1,100 flights annually. We have an annual spend of an excess of $700,000 in air flights, all being spent through Erie and Buffalo. At one point, I flew almost exclusively out of the Jamestown airport, as did the majority of the people from our company. Unfortunately, in the last 3 years, we have not flown anyone out of the Jamestown airport. We do about 70% of our flights through the Erie airport because of the connections that they have to what we consider the more major hubs, and we do about 30% out of Buffalo, and a few odds and ends outside of that where people would drive a little bit further to go to Cleveland direct to get out of that hub. Biggest thing it would take would be availability of flights out of a hub city where there's a lot of options. I would say that is even more critical than price. I can tell you that we always look at price, but availability of flight options and availability of different carriers is probably the biggest issue that we face. Detroit is definitely would be our first choice, but we're doing a lot of, I mentioned there are people that are driving to Cleveland direct to catch flights out of that, so Cleveland is definitely an option for us.
And during a 9-week summer season where we put on over 2,000 events, in the sense of we have a theater company, an opera company, a symphony orchestra, a lecture platform, we have a religion program, and we attract probably over 150,000 visitors every year. 20 to 30,000 of those may be flying in to regional airports around here, and I think a large percentage of those would prefer actually coming to the Jamestown airport. Travel to Chautauqua can sometimes be problematic. If you're not within a couple of hours driving distance, then having to arrive through Buffalo or Erie airports, probably predominantly Buffalo, sometimes even as far away as Toronto. Because we're bringing in not only our clients, but for example with the symphony orchestra, guest conductors, with the opera company, guest performers, and they may be coming from all over the world. The ability for our travelers to use a local airport, I think would greatly enhance the Chautauqua program and make it available to a larger audience.